The Xiongan new area, inaugurated on April 1, 2017, stands as a testament to Chinese leader Xi Jinping's grand economic ambitions. Conceived as a pioneering project, this urban expanse was showered with vast state capital, illustrating the bold aspirations to sculpt an innovative and prosperous economic hub. Poised as a future utopia, Xiongan was envisioned to not only decentralize Beijing's dense political and economic landscape, but also to symbolize China's thrust towards advanced urban development forecasted to draw global acclaim and investment. However, half a decade into its existence, the reality of Xiongan new area starkly contrasts with its envisioned prestige. One of the most critical shortcomings of this area is the conspicuous lack of substantial industrial development. Where once the sounds of progress were expected to reverberate through bustling streets and thriving marketplaces, silence instead pervades. The ineffectiveness of the area to emerge as a magnet for business has been further exacerbated by the absence of well-known brands and corporate entities. And it is not just that. The failure of attracting companies drove Chinese citizens away from it. High-profile domestic and international firms have shown little to no inclination toward establishing a presence within Xiongan, rendering the area devoid of the vital economic heartbeat that characterizes successful urban economies. The streets of Xiongan new area are empty, like a zombie apocalypse. Despite all the billions of investment, the Xiongan new area is nothing but a ghost city. Adding to these economic travails is a poignant lack of crucial amenities. Xiongan new area's blueprint, while architecturally sound, fails to integrate key social infrastructure components. Educational institutions, healthcare facilities, and entertainment venues are starkly absent. Such a deficit diminishes the livability quotient and desirability of the area. Prospective residents and talent are met with the prospect of life amidst concrete without the nourishment of community facilities, a stark deterrent to relocation and long-term settlement. So much so, the presence of people is extremely rare in the area. The development's inability to attract external talent is another glaring issue, striking at the very foundation of what makes a city thrive. Talent relocation is the fuel that propels an economy forward, fostering innovation, diversity, and cultural dynamism. Xiongan's failure to beckon to professionals and entrepreneurs speaks volumes about its global appeal, or lack thereof. Without a vibrant community drawn in by career opportunities, quality of life, and the lure of innovation, Xiongan struggles to shake off the moniker of a ghost town, an appellation signifying empty streets and unfulfilled promises. Is this the future city of China look like? Nothing but an empty area that attract nothing but insects? The Xiongan new area transformative potential remains unrealized, mired by economic inertia and infrastructural voids. The area that was to be a beacon of China's urban future instead reflects the challenges of over-ambition and an unfulfilled economic strategy. As a result, the area persists as a question mark in China's developmental narrative, a project of scale and scope in search of its soul and purpose. Xi Jinping's multi-billion-dollar ghost town. Why Xiongan new area fall? The ambitious vision for Xiongan new area was initially charted with strategic foresight, aiming to establish it as a secondary capital through the relocation of various government ministries and 4.52 million people from Beijing, a move designed to alleviate Beijing's administrative bloat and catalyze regional development. However, these early governmental blueprints for Xiongan new area were left unrealized as plans to transition the city into a secondary policy-making hub were abruptly shelved. Moreover, efforts to rebrand and reorient the city as a provincial-level development zone and smart city failed to ignite the transformative effect desired. Underpinning this flawed policy implementation is Xiongan's inability to shake its perception as a workplace binary to an actual living, breathing city. The stark vision of its wide boulevards and towering structures, while aesthetically commanding, lacked the warmth and vibrancy of a lived-in city. This soulless reality severely undercut Xiongan's appeal, failing to draw Beijing residents towards a wholesale relocation to what was intended to be a modern urban oasis. Complicating this transition further was the deep-seated reluctance of Beijing residents to uproot their lives and trade established social and professional circles for the unknowns of a nascent cityscape that primarily offered employment without the communal heft of a true home. Such reluctance starkly contrasts with the trajectory of smart cities outlined in the latest research, indicating that successful smart urban areas are not only high-functioning but also livable, drawing new residents with promises of sustainability, innovation, and a better quality of life. Up until recently, the Xiongan new area is still an empty city. The government's strategy encountered a disconnect between the practical considerations of its populace and the sweeping vision of its policymakers, stumping the region's growth and stoking resistance. Residents once wary of leaving the status and stability of the capital grew increasingly obstinate as Xiongan, dubbed a smart city, seemed to lack the very essence and amenities that constitute smart living. Furthermore, the inclusion of technology and data-driven solutions key to such urban environments did not override the fundamental need for a more organic city development, thereby leaving a vacuum where a thriving urban culture should have emerged. As smart city models flourish globally, integrating green spaces, connectivity, and civic engagement, Xiongan's journey stands as a cautionary tableau, a stark blueprint in need of heart and habitability to move beyond its skeletal grandeur and reach its full potential as a domicile, and not just a domicile for labor. Xi Jinping's monolithic dream shattered, Xiongan's desolation exposes human tragedy and failed utopia. The Xiongan New Area, a project that emerged as a paragon of modern urban development, heralding the future of China's economic and cultural metamorphosis, has instead become an epicenter for significant social and human rights issues, deeply marring its development narrative. The establishment of this Millennium Project has been accompanied by forcible relocations, beset with accounts of villagers being evicted from their generational homes and land. Such actions inflicted on the local populace to clear the way for this envisioned urban paradise has ignited intense despair and spirited resistance among those upended. The tactics employed during these land requisitions have been marred by allegations of brutality and unlawfulness. Residents, entwined within the throes of displacement, report coordinated aggression by the state machinery, where riot police replaced retreating officials to forcibly quell dissent. The videos, sourced anonymously but suggesting proximity to Xiongan, display confrontations where villagers in desperation insist on "we won't sell our land" and defiantly demand the cessation of negotiations with the encroaching authorities. Furthermore, these distressing scenes of discord unfold further, revealing that the pushback from villagers, resilient in their stand against dispossession, has been met with detentions and arrests. There have been instances where villagers, forming a peaceful cavalcade of petition to city governments, have been intercepted and corralled, their voices stifled beneath the gavel of authority. Amid these tales of tenacity, there surfaces the graver narrative of deaths. Over 20 villagers were reported to have succumbed to the extreme stress induced by the forced relocations, tearfully leaving an ancestral legacy behind, curtailing over 700 years of history. The accounts of those who have faced displacement highlight a dreary tapestry of daily harassment and intimidation to sign relocation agreements, compounded by stark living conditions, instances where newly renovated houses are razed immediately after milestone family events, and others detailing heart-wrenching exits from homes imbued with family memories. This unsettling chronicle is further darkened by the revelation that levels of offered compensation for relocation by the local committee are negligible, often culminating in threats of wage cuts to those educators and ordinary residents daring to resist the signatories on relocation decrees. The downfall of Xiongan New Area amid social turmoil and economic stagnation. In the wake of the development of Xiongan New Area, public perception and corporate reaction have taken a notable turn. characterized primarily by a decline in trust towards government decision-making and execution. This skepticism has been amplified by the area's apparent transformation into a ghost town, despite the promise of Xi Jinping's Millennium Project and the substantial investments exceeding hundreds of billions of yuan. The Xiongan saga has unfortunately cemented itself as a cautionary tale, spotlighting the profound disconnect between lofty governmental ambitions and the practicalities of urban and economic development. Corporate hesitance to establish a presence in the Xiongan new area has been palpable, with businesses evidently reluctant to invest in a city with such visibly unmet potential. Xiongan, desolate and echoing with the unfulfilled promises of economic prosperity, has failed to demonstrate the vibrancy and opportunities typically required to attract corporate operations. This corporate apprehension, indicative of broader market sentiment, echoes a loss of confidence that is both a symptom and contributor to the burgeoning trust deficit. Amidst this climate of doubt and hesitation, satirical and critical commentary has flourished, much of it fueled by the starkness of Xiongan's hollowed-out reality. The voices of the public and media have taken to various platforms, airing their dissatisfaction through ironic humor and pointed criticism. The state of Xiongan has become not just a matter of financial misadventure, but also an emblem of misguided government initiatives, a receptacle for public disillusionment, and a focal point for satirical jabs at wasted potential. The economic consequences of these perceptions and the skepticism surrounding the Xiongan project are significant and multifaceted. The railway station in Xiongan, designed to be the largest in Asia and the heart of the region's connectivity, stands as a poignant symbol of this failed ideal. Rather than bustling with the traffic of goods and passengers to fuel regional growth, it is instead a dormant behemoth in a quiescent landscape, a physical reminder of resources ill-spent and economic exchanges that have failed to materialize. The troubled tale of Xi Jinping's Xiongan Dream City. The plight of Xiongan New Area, an initiative intended as a hallmark of Xi Jinping's forward-looking economic policy, serves as an illustrative cautionary account. The ghostly silence of its districts, the uninhabited structures and empty roads are testimonies to an ideological vision failing to align with the organic nature of urban evolution. This crippling dissonance between ambition and execution has not only resulted in tangible economic stagnation, but has also spread a somber narrative of social upheaval and disillusionment. Xiongan's problems are manifold and deeply entrenched. The initial approach by the Chinese government, which married high-stakes investment with a top-down planning mechanism, seemed impervious to the organic market laws that drive urban success. The resultant area, instead of becoming a bustling hub filled with opportunities, remains eerily quiet, its anticipated dynamism stifled by the lack of comprehensive ecosystemic development, a development that education, healthcare, and cultural amenities are a crucial part of. Corporate reticence plays a significant hand in the stunted growth of Xiongan. Without the presence of recognized brands and influential industries, the economic engine required to propel a city into prosperity is notably absent. This absence speaks volumes to potential entrepreneurs and workers who seek vibrant urban ecologies that offer not just employment, but an ecosystem where social and professional lives can flourish. The skyline of Xiongan stands but devoid of the economic lifeblood to fill its towers. Moreover, the social fabric of Xiongan presents a stark landscape marked by the absence of its most critical component, people. The area, designed to be a vision of futuristic living, paradoxically negates the essentials of present-day cultural and community needs. Without foresight into the human elements of urban development, how citizens interact with each other, with public services, and with technology, cities remain shells, as Xiongan sadly exemplifies. At the heart of Xiongan's narrative lies a more profound tale of violated hearths and homes, the human tragedy that unfolded as a consequence of this ambitious project. The forced relocations and ensuing social turmoil resonate with the stories of millions worldwide who find themselves in the path of progress, often a euphemism for the sweeping aside of existing lives for new developments. The starkness of this shift, from traditional social structures to forced modernity, highlights the ethical conundrums and deep human costs underlying instances of rapid urbanization. To pivot from Xiongan's present crossroad towards progression, a multifaceted strategy must be adopted. Policies aimed at attracting businesses must be reconsidered. Incentives that inspire not just short-term establishment, but long-term partnerships and growth should be at the forefront. Sustainable development practices should be integrated, tapping into the global movement towards green economies and acknowledging the vital significance of ecological health in urban centers. Education and innovation infrastructure could seed growth from within by fostering local talent and attracting worldwide intellect. Investment in schools, universities, research institutions, and startup incubators could promote a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship. This would catalyze economic diversity and offer the varied workforce opportunities necessary for a thriving metropolis. However, the change must be radical, it must be inclusive, and above all, it must learn from the poignant lessons the current state of the city imparts.